I'm here in Oba to talking about the revival of the Catholic Church, and I'd like to speak to you about it. Your name is...
Owen Gallagher. He's in Navy County Antrim, Northern Ireland.
Yeah. You were the founding member of the Mens Rosaries in Ireland.
Well, along with Patrick McChrystal, what happened was on the 26th of July, 4 years ago this year, I got a WhatsApp photograph of 1,000 men kneeling on the street in Warsaw, Poland, from somebody I knew, and it had the wow factor. And I thought it'd be great to get this going in Ireland. So I sent it to Patrick McChrystal, and he got back to me immediately saying, yes, this definitely had wow factor. And we had to get it started. So as it turned out, the 26th of July is the feast of St. Anne and St. Joachim, who are the parents of Our Lady. So it's a very auspicious date. We didn't realize at the time. So we got things organized, and Patrick drew up a protocol. We got in touch with as many men as we could, and women. And we went to Derry on the first Saturday in October, 4 years ago. It's 2021. So at the start, we were all a bit embarrassed about kneeling in public and saying the rosary. But as soon as we got to our knees, everything just fell into place. And there were about 60 men turned up and about 30 women supporters. So a lot of wives come, and a lot of pastors by join us. So we then decided to make it a bit more organized. So instead of just crowd of us around a statue, we decided to make it more military like the Polish men do. And we got all the men to be in lines. So it's a very impressive sight when you see 200 men kneeling in lines and saying the rosary. It really does have a powerful spiritual effect. So the next rosary was in Newry, and we had about 100 men turned up, and it was a very rainy day. And that was one of the first miracles. We've had several miracles of conversion and other healing events at the rosary. One that happened in Newry was a man came to me afterwards. He said, we did the sorrowful mystery. He said, during the carrying of the cross, as you may know, the carrying of the cross was the most difficult part of the whole crucifixion. According to Jesus, he appeared to St. Bernard of Clairvaux and told him of all the wounds, his shoulder wound was the worst because it was 3 fingers deep and it was 10 centimeters long, and it exposed 3 bowls in his shoulder, and he had a 10-stone cross, a crossbar up the cross on the shoulder. So this man said during the sorrowful mysteries he felt absolutely awful, felt as if he was in agony, and then suddenly something he had been worried about for the previous 6 months just vanished from his head. And he then told me not only did it vanish, but he couldn't remember what he had been worrying about. So that was a little bit of a miracle. And since then we've had other extraordinary things, people being converted. In December, we went to Belfast, and we had about 180 men turned up on the streets in Belfast, the very centre of Belfast. And there were thousands of Christmas shoppers went past. And a young girl came to one of the men who was kneeling on the street that she knew like 3 months later, and she said, these men kneeling on the street, praying for their sins against women, praying for sins against abortion, had an extraordinary effect on her. And about 3 or 4 months later, she decided to go back to her faith, having been away for about 10 years.
And how is it organized? Is there an organization for the Men's Rosary? Or
to keep it very simple, it's just really myself and Patrick McChrystal, and other people help out. Like there's a man, Jerry McKay, is involved in the looking after the microphone and organising the men in line. He's very good at that. There's Sean Hoey from Cullyhanna. Jerry's from Warren Point direction. Sean Hoey from Cullyhanna, he brings a beautiful statue of Our Lady, which he got from Fatima. He brings it along, and he brings flowers, and he has people helping him. And there are people who do the meditation. So we always have it on the first Saturday, and we advise people to try to get the Mass themselves. Sometimes we have confessions on the day if we have priests turning up, but otherwise people have to do that. We do 2 parts of 4 conditions of the 5 first Saturdays, which is the 15 minutes meditation and the rosary itself, and all the other people all that people have to do after that is
But like, there's Men's Rosaries all around Ireland now. So are they part of your group? Like, how does it work there?
well, once it started in the English language, it started to spread. So people in our group sent it to their friends, and Patrick McChrystal drew up a very good suggested protocol of how to set up the Men's Rosary, and that went round Ireland, and then when it spread to England, Scotland, and to Swansea and Wales as well. And it gradually spread to America. It hasn't taken off very well in America, but it went into the Spanish language, and it has taken off enormously in South America. But we also have people in places like Gibraltar, Malta.
How many Men's Rosaries organised in Ireland at every Saturday?
At the moment, there's about 24 venues, and that's from Kerry to Kells to Sligo, Galway, and Northern Ireland. Donegal also has their own rosary.
And how many people would be participating, would you say?
We call ourselves the Roving Men's Rosary because we always go from town to town. So we would have between 70 and 200, depending on the venue. The other venues have numbers varying from maybe as low as 2 to maybe 50 or 60. So it's very variable. What we actually want people to do is to see the rosary come to their town, and then somebody in that town pick it up and start it. And that's what happened in Omagh.
And would you reckon then that in fact things are improving in Ireland in terms of
enormously?
You reckon?
Since the Men's Rosary on the street started, there have been a huge number of innovations, and great graces have come from it. Louis de Montfort said public prayer is much better than private prayer and much more powerful. And St. John Vianney said that religion gains much more in influence when led by men. Now, in this feminist society, so-called feminist society, only about 7% of women are actually feminists, but they would make a lot of noise. A lot of them are not happy when you say that. And I have said that publicly, and I got food. But St. John Vianney, probably one of the greatest saints who ever lived, said, if men leave, family will follow, basically. And we have found that.
Yeah, so it's no accident that it is a Men's Rosary. You deliberately.
It's all. Of course, we got the media coming and, why no women's rosary? Why is it just a men's? So they just wanted to knock it. They weren't interested. So in the end, we actually got a very strong women's rosary going in Northern Ireland. They also have it in Poland, but it hasn't gone to the Republic yet. But two women, Sheila Kelly and Mary Goodman, they're actually in Dundalk today. They go on the second Saturday of the month, and they rove around like us, and hope is people will set up.
Yeah.
So they have a very strong group. They get between maybe 30 and 60 or 70.
So you're optimistic of a Catholic revival in Ireland?
Really optimistic.
Yeah.
I think it's excellent. Look at the number of things that have happened, not all directly due to the Men's Rosary, other men getting involved.
Yeah.
And a lot of men converted. I mean, the men who come to the Men's Rosary, they're not all softies. I mean, a lot of them are ex-boxers that maybe have been in the IRA, have been up to all sorts of activities.
Yeah.
None of the men in the Rosary, including myself, are saints.
Yeah.
Well, and these men, they've converted and they're very tough. They're not going to be pushed over by anybody. But what I'm saying is other people have taken spiritual graces or something from this.
Yeah.
And look what the men in Derry did there this year. They had 5,000 people at a Eucharistic procession through the town.
Yeah. Well, so good. Go be them all. Thanks so much, Dr. Giff.